Hi, my name is Shatrujeet Nath, and I am the AMPS Author of the Month for January. So, what kept me sane during this pandemic was essentially family. Just being around with people who you love and you care for. I think that was very, very important during a phase when the environment, the atmosphere was very depressing. There was bad news whichever way you turned and looked. So I think yes, family was a very, very important factor that helped uh, keep me sane. And I think the other important contributor to uh, general mental sanity was just being keeping maintaining a very positive outlook towards things, just believing that things are going to get better, even when there was no real evidence of that. Not really losing hope, because I think that's really what keeps us going. The belief that things are going to get better, the belief that things are going to get okay. So I think these were important factors: optimism, faith, hope, courage, and family. Yes. So that's really what kept me going and kept me sane. For me, defining mental health is not about happiness. I think mental health is more than that. I think mental health is about uh, f- being comfortable with who you are, being at peace with who you are. I think that's really what defines how you are mentally strong, safe, and secure. That's what is really important. It's about finding that equilibrium between the highs and lows of everyday life. It's about just coming to terms with and making your peace with whatever life throws at you. Uh, I think that's really what mental health is all about. It's about your ability to deal with both the extreme highs and the extreme lows of whatever comes to us. So that's really what mental health is, in my opinion, and what we should be striving towards. Working towards that equilibrium that I was talking about. I think that's really what's important. The best metaphor that I can think of to kind of encapsulate the idea of mental health is probably looking at a mountain slope, which is packed with tons and tons of snow. And what happens is that there's absolute calm, and it's extremely serene and peaceful and beautiful. But what's really happening underneath all that snow is that there's this thin layer of ice that actually exists below all that packed snow, and this ice is actually very, very, very fragile. I mean, it can crack at any given point in time. So what happens is that if any factor creates a fissure in that ice and the ice cracks, the ice starts slipping. And as the ice starts slipping, it starts taking all the snow down along with it. And that's what really, creates this big mammoth avalanche. That's one of the things that triggers an avalanche. And I think that's really what the state of mental health is all about. there's a lot of calm, but there's also an extremely fragile system that's at the bottom of it, which needs to be maintained and sustained. Because if something were to go wrong underneath, the whole system could kind of slide and collapse. For a writer, mental rigor is it's something that just goes hand in hand with what we do on an everyday basis, because everything that we writers do, what we create, is a product of our mind. It's a product of our imagination. So yes, mental rigor is a given in the nature of our job. It's something that comes with it's part of the territory. What's also, I think, kind of important for writers is that, and this is not necessarily true only of writers, it's true of all creative people. People tend to be very sensitive by nature, and I think that's also kind of linked with mental health and mental rigor and stuff like that. So yes, I think it's a given. It's important for creative people to sustain their mental faculties, because that's really where they draw their ideas from. That's where they draw inspiration from, and so I think it's very important for us to kind of acknowledge that it's important for us to keep ourselves mentally safe, sound, secure, and yeah, very strong. I think that's very important for us. All creative people. I think for all of us, but definitely true of creative people. Yes. Yeah, I think the job of being an author and also being a script writer or a script consultant, a screen consultant, it's not really a question of actually juggling two things, because at one level it's both are essentially the same thing. I mean, the nature of the jobs are similar. It's about telling stories, it's about ideation, it's about creativity, and it's about telling stories, really. So it's not that I have a banking job and I also write books, or that I'm an astronaut and I also play the violin. So it's not really dissonant in that sense of the word. But yeah, there are challenges because they're different things, because they're two different mediums. One is obviously film and moving images and visuals, and the other is words. But in a sense, it's the same thing, and I enjoy doing both. There are cross learnings, obviously. I mean, there are things that I've learned as a screenwriter that I have been able to apply to my writing of novels, and there are things that I draw from being a novelist, and I try and build that into screenwriting. So yeah, I think it's been a fun process, and I enjoy doing both. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. I think it's imperative that we as individuals and we as a collective society get rid of the stigma that is attached to mental health issues. I think it's important that we stop equating mental health with lunacy or madness, which is the complete knee jerk that happens, or we kind of turn around and dismiss mental health issues as something that's totally imagined. I mean, if someone says that I've got my head is hurting, and you don't turn around and say you're imagining it. No, you actually go to a doctor and you try and figure out what the problem is. So it's the same thing with a lot of mental health issues. When people talk about either anxiety or depression or whatever it is, the first thing is you're imagining it. It's just a phase, or it's you need to snap out of it, and yeah, it's easier said than done, these things. So I think it's important that we acknowledge that mental health issues exist, and it's just a physical condition which can be treated. It needs therapy. If it needs medical intervention, then we should just seek intervention and solve the problem rather than pretend that it doesn't exist. And really, it's obviously not nice for the person who's dealing with those issues. I think the human mind is an absolutely fascinating piece of work, because it's just especially for someone who's a creative person like myself. There's it's a reservoir of ideas, of language, of memory, of just so many beautiful things that just that we experience and live and relive every moment of the day. So it's absolutely fascinating, and I know so much of it actually just comes from here. It's beautiful, and that's why. So it's also so important to kind of preserve it and give it the respect it deserves. So because the mind is for me as a creative person. I mean, I would dread the day when I wake up and I would not have any new ideas or any new thoughts to share with the world. It's a scary place to be. So yeah, I think the human mind is absolutely fascinating, so rich, so fertile, so giving, and so generous to us. So yeah, I think we really need to treat the human mind with a lot of respect and reverence. As a member of the selection panel, what I would look for in the submissions that are coming our way, uh, it's actually very, very simple. There are only two things that I really always look for. That's creativity and an original idea. I think we are living in a world which is hugely derivative, and we've seen so many ideas and we've seen them done so many times that that it's genuinely difficult to find a fresh original idea that you look at and you go, wow, oh, this is a fresh idea. I have never seen or heard of an idea like this before. That's really what excites me. And whenever I listen to an idea and I say, okay, wow, this sounds good because it's never been done before. So I would be looking at originality of ideas, and I would be looking at and obviously at creativity, because you can have a great original idea, but if you don't use your creativity to build on it, that idea is practically useless. So yeah, definitely creativity and originality. Yeah, always those two. I'm thankful to the AMP for making me the author of the month for January. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you guys here. Thank you.